Yo, what is up, everybody? I am here in the double tank tops because why the heck not? Um, I am here with my end of season predictions. In my last video, if you did watch that, I lied a little bit. I said this is all gonna be one. It's not gonna work. There's just too much stuff to go through. So I'm gonna try and keep this at about 10 minutes and see what I can do from there. Before I get into it, please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. If you didn't enjoy the video, then sorry if that was really loud. If you did enjoy the video, then I'm sorry, I have failed. But if you did enjoy the video, then leave a like and subscribe. There will be a lot more of this throughout the season. So I'm thinking to go ahead and get right into this. For today, for sure, what I want to go through is my final standings predictions. My last couple of videos were all about like breakdowns of each NBA team, and so overall, so this is going to be where do I have them falling. So this is just my opinion. I do want to state this before I get into this. The NBA is absolutely loaded. Okay, there are so many great teams, so many teams that in both conferences. I think there are 12 teams in both conferences that can compete for the NBA for the playoffs. No doubt in my mind. In the East, there are 6 teams that can compete for the first seed. In the West, there's only really 4 at most, but there's one real in the West. But in my opinion, overall there are 12 teams that I have pushing for playoff spots, and unfortunately, there's only 10 playoff spots, so 2 teams in each division had to be cut, and then like the play and stuff. But anyway, I just want to say that before, and I'll say it in the next couple videos when I'm talking about this. The NBA is, I think this might be the most loaded it's ever been. This maybe, probably not, but for as long as I've been watching, this is the most loaded it's ever been. So I'm going to go ahead and start in the East. Start from the bottom. I think we all know it's going to be the Knicks. They're going to suck. RJ and Obi do look nice, though. They're looking pretty nice together, as they got the win tonight when I'm recording this. But they looking nice, but they need more. Ideally for them, they get the number 1 overall pick, take Cunningham, and there you got your point guard, your shooting guard, your power forward. Like that, then that team would be pretty nice. The Knicks, I don't think they're going to do well at all this year. Well, they're not going to do well, at least compared to everybody else. They're not going to do well, and somebody's got to come in last, and it's going to be them. So they're at 15. 14, I have the Pistons. They're going into rebuild mode. I'm just waiting for them to trade Balake and D-Rose. As soon as that happens, this team will compete with the Knicks for like the worst team. Killian Hayes will put up some nice stats, but if they trade, I think once they trade Balake and Derrick Rose at like the trade deadline at the latest, the Pistons will be the worst team in basketball. But they still got them right now, so I think they're a half step above the Knicks. At 13, the last team that I think doesn't really have a shot for the playoffs or the playing game, and that's the Cleveland Cavaliers. I like Sexton and Okoro. I love that for the future. But Garland, I'm not happy with. I don't think he'd be he's the perfect fit in Cleveland. As for Love and Drummond, great pieces. They just don't fit the Cavs timetable. So I would try and trade them off for picks for this upcoming draft class if you can, because it's absolutely loaded. I'll probably do a video on it. But yeah, I'm gonna do. Yeah, okay. I just got a good idea. Anyway, I think this Cleveland Cavaliers team can be good. I mean, Okoro's I think he just hit a game-winning layup or a game-winning shot or whatever. So Okoro's looking to be pretty nice. But I don't think those 3 teams have a shot in the playoffs. Now moving on to the 12 teams that I do think have a shot for the playoffs. And in at number 12, I have the Charlotte Hornets. Overall, I think they're just too young and too inexperienced to make a push into that playoff spot. I think LaMelo needs to step up. I love the 10 rebounds, but you need to score at least once. Seriously, the scoring and assist needs to improve if he wants to play better. Or if, dumbass. If the Hornets want to do good, it needs to be on the back of LaMelo. Well, LaMelo needs to help propel them up. I think Gordon Hayward will be their best player. Gordon Hayward and Devontae Graham will be their two best players. I really like Bridges and Washington. Love them. They do need a center. That's their biggest weakness right now, I would say. But I love their backcourt. Love their wings. The center's definitely the weakest point, though. But I do think they can push for that 10th spot, but I just don't see it happening this year. At number 11, there's a team that's typically decent, and that's the Orlando Magic. They didn't really lose anyone. They lost DJ Augustine to the Bucks, I believe. But the biggest loss was Jonathan Isaac with his ACL, I think is what it was. That's going to be a huge blow, as he was I would dare say their second best player behind Vucevic. Just Isaac's defense was amazing, was just outstanding. Isaac's defense is absolutely amazing. But yeah, I have them falling in at 11th because I don't see anyone making up the defense that Isaac did. And the Orlando Magic could easily, I think, finish as the 6th seed, like just as easily as 6th or 11th. But I have them at 11th just because I'm a little bit higher on these couple teams ahead of them. And one of them being, I think, is you figure out the Chicago Bulls. I love the Chicago Bulls roster. It's not complete yet, nowhere close. I think the main thing is getting a starting point guard. I love Kobe White, but I see him more as a 6-man, ideally for the Bulls. And Zach LaVine can't be your number one scorer. But I think this team will be well-balanced enough that it gets into the 10th seed for the play-in spot. At number 9, I have the Atlanta Hawks. Just because of Trae Young, really. I think Trae Young will do enough to push them in there. And they've had one of the most eventful off seasons. They will need to sort out their forward situation because they have 4 capable starting forwards in DeAndre Hunter, Cam Reddish, Danilo Gallinari, and John Collins. They're going to need to work that out. But outside of that, I really love what they've done, and I think they get into the play-in game this year. At number 8, I have the Washington Wizards. Russ, that's the real reason. But the only problem is, outside of Russ, at least from my memory, they do have Beal, and I really do love Hachimura. Don't like Thomas Bryant. Not a huge fan of his. To be a starting center, I'm sure he's a fine guy, but as a starting center, I'm not liking it. I do like Avdija. I love Avdija and Bertans, but I think the two teams the one team I could see them getting ahead of is just even more well-rounded, and that's the Indiana Pacers. I think they have one of the more well-rounded. Like, they're just comprised of like solid players. Like, you have Malcolm Brogdon, Victor Oladipo, T.J. Warren, Domantas Sabonis, and Miles Turner. Like, Brogdon, Turner, and Warren are literally like the definition of solid NBA players. I think T.J. Warren will be the leading scorer on this team, as he does have the biggest offensive threat. Like, he is the most creative offensively. I think followed by Oladipo. But Sabonis, I think, will put up all-star level numbers. Turner will be the same Turner we've seen since his rookie year. I think Brogdon is a little bit. He gets looked over quite a bit. I love Malcolm Brogdon. But yeah, I think this team finishes 7th in the standings. Now, these 6 teams I could really see in any, like, if you have them in any different order, would I be mad? Not really. Like, I can understand having the 6th seed first, having the 1st seed 5th, really 2nd. Yeah, if you have this number 1 seed 6th, then I might have some problems with you. But yeah, at number 6, I have the Toronto Raptors, just because everyone else has seemed to have taken steps up, while the Raptors, I think, have stayed about the same. They've increased a little bit. Specifically, with their selection of Malachi Flynn. He is amazing. Like, played for San Diego State last year. Dude is a baller. They've played the Hornets twice this year. That I've like in preseason. Malachi Flynn has outperformed LaMelo Ball in both games. Like that's he has. Malachi Flynn will be a great 6-man, great bench piece to start off. But overall, the Raptors, as I said, you could have them anywhere from 6th to 1st. The first would be a little bit of a stretch, but and realistically, anywhere from 6th to 2nd, I would not be too mad. At number 5, I have the Philadelphia 76ers. They looked pretty good the other night when they played. They looked pretty good. I think Doc Rivers is a perfect coach for this team, and I could see him anywhere from 6th to 1st. As I'll stop saying that because I just want that to be implied with these next 4 teams, that I could see them anywhere in this 1 to 6 range. But Embiid looks as dominant as ever. Tobias Harris played pretty nice. I was intrigued with the lineup that they threw out there, starting both Seth Curry and Danny Green. I would have thought it would be one or the other and have Matisse Thybulle, just because of his defense. But I guess Danny Green also provides a lot of defense, solid defense. So I think the 76ers will be a very good, very solid team, but I have them finishing 5th, and as that's not bad this year. At number 4, I have the Brooklyn Nets. KD, the biggest concern for them is KD. He will absolutely not be the same player, at least right away, that he was in Golden State and Oklahoma City. But will he still be a great player? Yes. He is still going to be one of the better players in the NBA. Not at an MVP level now, but pretty soon he'll be back up there. But I'm only concerned about this season, and I think Kyrie will definitely help take pressure off him, as Kevin Durant played very well with Steph Curry. Now, Kyrie's not as good as Curry, but yeah, Kyrie's still a very good point guard in his own right, and I think this team and the overall depth to it gets them into the 4th spot. Now, 2 and 3, I definitely see switched quite a bit, but remember, I am biased. Okay, well, I guess I said that on the one that didn't go up. I am biased. I'll admit it. Okay, you see it. It's right here. It's right here in the number. Okay, with those 2 specifically, I will absolutely be biased. Hence why I have the Miami Heat at number 3. I also think people are absolutely overrating Tyler Hero. He's a great player. In fact, I ordered one of his jerseys. Love him. I saw the perfect meme. And it was like how the media sees Tyler Hero. It said mentality Michael Jordan, size Kevin Durant, physicality of LeBron James, shooting Steph Curry. Like that seemed about right. Like they just had like all the best, and he's a very solid player. This is his 2nd year, guys. Okay, the potential is there. He's not at his full potential yet. Okay, he's just not. Will he be soon? Yeah, but he's not quite. So I have them falling at number 3, mainly because Jimmy Butler, I think, is starting to get a little bit overlooked because of Tyler Hero, and their 2 point guards in Dragic Nunn. Yeah, I really like the team that the Miami Heat has, and if they hadn't beaten us, I might be a little bit higher on them. Would have enjoyed them a bit, watching them a bit more, but because they beat us, I am a bit more mad. So at number 2, I couldn't be biased enough to put them at number 1. I have the Celtics. I think Tatum explodes at being without question now the number 1 option. I like when Kemba was there. Some games, yeah, Kemba would just take over, have his great games. Now Kemba's not there, and Tatum needs to show that he can step up, and I think he absolutely will. His playmaking will improve as he will find the ball in his hands a lot more. At least that's what I'm hoping for. But yeah, I expect a lot from the Celtics team. I do think the start of the year we might struggle a little bit trying to get everything to fit in, but once it clicks, this team will be very good. The defense is off the charts. I mean, I'm looking at this roster, like it's intriguing. We have a lot of undersized big men, but none of them can really move on the perimeter. But like a defensive lineup of Smart, Brown, Tatum, Tristan Thompson, and Daniel Tice would not be the worst thing in the world. Like that would be actually a very good defensive team. Like especially the first 3. But yeah, that I have the Celtics coming in at number 2, and at number 1, the Milwaukee Bucks. They got better. They did, and I think they got better by not trading for Bogdanovich, because that just would have been too many mouths to feed. I think, because you would have had they could have made it work, but they already have someone in Dante DiVincenzo, who is an amazing 3-and-D player, is absolutely underrated in my opinion. But yeah, just the defense. You have Drew Holiday, Dante DiVincenzo, Chris Middleton, Giannis, and Brook Lopez. Like, that might be the best defensive starting 5 in the entire league. This team is absolutely going to dominate the regular season, and I think have one of their best postseasons ever. So now moving on to the West, and again, by coincidence, I think there are 3 teams that don't really have a shot at getting into the playoffs, but then 12 teams that do. But starting off at number 15, I have the Oklahoma City Thunder. When your second best player is Al Horford, you got some problems. I love Al. Love him. He's not what he used to be. Okay, if I'm the Thunder, try and trade him. Okay, we all know you're not going to win games this year. Granted, that is what we thought about him last year. But I'm highly doubtful that they will do anything. Shai Gilgeous will have an amazing season. But overall, the Thunder are going to suck. And I hope this is a development year for Bazley, for Lou Dort, Pokusevski. A lot of those young players on the Thunder, I hope this is used as a development year so they can come back next year a bit stronger. At number 14, I have the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think they made the perfect pick in the draft with Anthony Edwards, but they didn't really do too much outside of that, and hence why I don't see them taking too much of a step up. They did get Rubio, and we'll have a very interesting starting lineup depending on how they do it. But yeah, overall, I don't think that's enough to compete for the playoffs. At number 13, the Sacramento Kings. Love their backcourt with Fox, Hield, and Halliburton. Love Bagley, but he needs to start staying healthy. And until that happens, their Kings aren't going to compete. So I have them in at 13. At number 12, the teams that I can see making a playoff push, the San Antonio Spurs. Only because of Popovich. Like, Popovich and DeRozan should be a combination to push for the playoffs. And Aldridge, too. DeJounte Murray's a very solid team. I like their rookies in Trey Jones and Devin Vassell. So I think they compete for the playoffs, but overall finish 12th. At 11th, I was shocked with this. I just couldn't put them ahead of any other team, and that's the Houston Rockets. I think James Harden can still be a top player in the NBA, but he sure didn't look like it. I think he had 12 points in 20-something minutes, I think it was, which for most players is fine. Like, I would love to score 12 points in an NBA game. But for James Harden, that's an off night. Like, scoring 12 points in 20 minutes, that's not good for Harden. So I love John Wall. But as for the Rockets in general, I don't think it's looking too good. So at number 10, I have the Memphis Grizzlies, solely because a Ja and Triple J push into the final spot, like a game above the Houston Rockets. Like, that's what I think the difference will be, but it'll be that when they play, I think Memphis will win both games, or one game, however many games they play against each other. I think 2 games. But yeah, I think Memphis will get the upper hand and get that 10th seed. At number 9, I have the Phoenix Suns. I think typically people have them a little bit higher, but I love the team. But the other teams ahead of them are just so good. Like, I think from 10 to 9 there's a little bit of a gap, but from 9 to even 2, there's not that much of a gap between those 8 teams. Like, it's the West is so insane. So I could see the Suns finishing anywhere from 2nd to 9th. You will hear me start saying that a lot. I will try not to, but yeah, I have the Suns in here at number 9. Dina said Chris Paul's going to be good. Booker, I realized I didn't say anything. Aiden. I love their starting five, but bench depth isn't quite there. Next, I have at eighth the Utah Jazz. I have there's I'm nitpicking with these rosters at this point, and what it is for me with the Jazz is I think Gobert and Mitchell has gotten you as far as they can. You're going to need other offensive scoring. Okay, you can't rely solely on Donovan Mitchell to score you 50 points a night. Conley can provide the scoring, but he's seemed a little bit inconsistent from what I saw. Bogdanovich can. Ingles can. Jordan Clarkson can. But there's no real other certified second option on this team, at least from my eyes. I just don't see anyone on the Utah Jazz stepping up into that role this year. But I do have them coming in at number 8. At number 7, I have the New Orleans Pelicans. Zion looked like an absolute beast, as he has in every single game he's played. He's looked so good. He just needs to stay on the court. I think Brandon Ingram will have another amazing year. Lonzo will love having Zion there an entire year. I love the addition of Steven Adams. I like that. It does clog the paint a little bit, but overall, Steven Adams is one of my favorite players. And I have the Pelicans finishing at number 7. At number 6, a team I am very high on, but it suffered some. Well, I was really high on, I should say, suffered a major injury, and that's the Golden State Warriors. I had them, I think, preseason before the injury, before the draft, I had them in at the third best team, but after Clay's injury, the Warriors fall to number 6. I love the team, love Steph Curry, but there's just, again, like the Suns, there's just not much depth. The main difference this time being that Curry's better than Chris Paul. Booker is better than the Warriors' next one, but the Warriors' starting lineup is a little bit more complete, I would say, and hence why I'm having them at number 6. At number 5, I have the Portland Trail Blazers. I love what this team has done. Damian Lillard, I think, is poised for an MVP-type season. I love C.J. McCollum, love Robert Covington, love that addition. I love Gary Trent, Melo. This team's going to be very good. I just can't put them ahead of any of these other 4 teams. At number 4, I have the Clippers. Mainly because they're not a regular season team. We know that. Will it hurt them in the end? Yes. Because I have it finishing at number 4, and they'd have to play the Lakers in the second round as opposed to the third round. And that could not turn out well, but it'll be very close with the third best team. But I think the Clippers fall in at number 4. Look out, Paul George is starting to get a little bit underrated. He was inconsistent in the playoffs. I get that. But Mans is still a very good basketball player, so I think the media is sleeping on him a little bit. Not fully underrated yet, but he's working towards being underrated. So at number 3, I have the Denver Nuggets, just because they proved to be a very good regular season team with Jamal Murray. I think it honestly is a similar case to the Jazz in terms of scoring, but they have found a possible second scoring option or even third scoring option in either Jokic and Michael Porter Jr. I get Jokic actually was their leading scorer in the regular season last year, but in the playoffs, their go-to guy was Murray just about every single play. Jokic is a great playmaker from the post, and I think that Mike Malone is an absolute genius for figuring that all out. But I think this team is going to be great, and I have them falling in at number 3. I think you know who the last 2 teams are, the Lakers and Mavericks, and I think you know the order. Number 2, I have the Mavericks. Luka, I think, honestly has the best chance at the MVP award this year, as I will get to when I get to the awards, probably in the next video. But Luka is going to be an absolute beast. They will be missing Porzingis, but I think Luka can carry him along with Josh Richardson, can contribute. I just forgot their entire roster. Maxi Kleba is solid. Who's there? Holy cow! Why can I not remember this? I like their. I'll just go to what I do know. I like their rookies in Josh Green and Tyrell Terry. Love it. Tim Hardaway Jr. That's who it was. I was not a fan of Tim in New York. Now that he's in Denver or Dallas, looks pretty good. So I think the Mavericks take the 2 seed. And finally, at number 1, the Lakers. I mean, they have 2 of the 5 best players in the league on their team. They added one of the better point guards in the league in Schroeder, if I'm being honest. He is a very good point guard. They added great defense. Well, they added great big man, I should say, contributors in Marc Gasol and Montrezl Harrell. Marc Gasol could absolutely take a step down this year, but I love the signing of Montrezl Harrell. This team just won a championship, and they got better. I mean, they added, Schroeder, as I mentioned, Schroeder, Matthews, Gasol, and Harrell. But along with that, Talen Horton-Tucker has looked like Michael freaking Jordan in the preseason. And LeBron says Kyle Kuzma is going to have a breakout year. I mean, and they have Caruso. Like, this team is just too good. And if you have them anywhere besides number 1, I would get mad. Like, that'd be one I would intervene with and say no. But that's my opinions for the overall standings. So this will be part 1 of my my end of season predictions. The other parts, I don't know how many there will be, but half of them will come out like right after this, and half of them will come out tomorrow. Is my plan of now. But yeah, thank you all very much for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Adios.